So audio looks good on the computer.
Sweet.
We'll wait for it to come up on the... So this is cool, because it'll just be the graphic while they're waiting.
Oh, I see. And then you can kind of hear it in the background.
Then we'll fade over to...
So you got the audio off
So once
right
it goes... No, the audio's on.
it's just not...
So we're just going to wait till my phone says...
Oh, I gotcha. And then you fade
we're
in.
live, and it won't be us.
I gotcha. It does look like something that could be on the back of a biker jacket, which I don't mind.
I like the hang loose.
Yeah, that's totally like fits our personas, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, it's up on the phone. We have video. Yay. So we'll just do fade. Hey, everybody.
What? Did it work? Oh, that's so
It worked.
cool.
We're live.
Nice.
It's August 1st, right?
Yeah.
Podcast number, I think, 10. Well, 8-balling number 10. Probably podcast 15-ish.
15 or something like that.
Which means about 14 weeks.
Wow, is that... It feels like just
Started
yesterday
in
we
the end
started
of
this
May,
up.
or in the middle of May.
Right after Mother's Day, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah. Like a week, maybe. No, I don't know.
Okay, so here's how we're going to start the show. Well, I'm Chris.
I'm Charlie.
We are.
8-balling, baby.
All right. So I've got two cool things, which I've explained before, and I'll spare you the pain. But I felt bad for Charlie because I was reviewing podcasts and kind of self-critiquing, and I'm like, he really needs something. I'm amazed it came today. That I bought it on Saturday, and she was asking me questions about which there were different colors.
Oh, sure.
And it took us like 3 days to get through that. So she didn't ship it till like maybe the day before yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like,
this
damn, we're not going to have it. And I get in, and Amanda had put it like right where I'd see it coming in the garage.
Oh,
So
nice.
take a look what I
Sweet.
look
All
at
right.
what I got you.
Nobody ever buys me gifts. This is a super nice thing.
And I tried to find something else first.
Whoa.
That was my second choice. There was going to be one of two things.
Eclipsing the world. Look at that. Fancy box. All right.
And I think it's pretty neat.
Oh, shit. No way. Wow. Get this out of here. Oh, that's great. Oh, wow. That's really pretty, actually. It's a little mini globe. Oh, my God. It's really
Hopefully
nice.
our audience is smart enough to ultimately figure that out.
What you mean? Your audience?
There's a little globe.
Oh, it's funny. The geometry is way off, but I like that. It's
It's hard to...
I'm
kind of a globe fan.
I like that a lot.
It's hard to get them right.
It's really pretty, though.
It is.
It's
It
very
looks very
pretty.
ornate. So
And,
this is the first time seeing it other than crappy eBay pictures.
It's kind of bougie. It's like, who needs a globe anymore, you know? It's like that. What were we just talking about? White privilege.
Yeah,
I got a
guess.
globe. God, that's awesome. That's a great prop. Let's see. Let's get this out of the way. How does it look on the shot?
Take a peek. Oh, it looks cool. Looks
Is
good.
that good, or should we do it like that? This way? I kind of like it to the side, so it looks like it's
I like it
floating.
how you first had it.
That's awesome.
That works. That totally works.
Right on. Thank you. Cool.
You're
Boom.
welcome.
I finally have a prop, guys. I'm caught up. I am leaving the short bus now.
Yes.
Back on.
And being that I would be one to ride the short bus, we can get away with that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. The
Yeah.
consequences. Chris warned me that we're going to be going into uneven ground or thin ice territory later. So
I personally don't think it's thin ice, but we're to the extent, I don't know who we're getting like
at this point in
we're
time,
getting
you never
20 some
know, yeah.
watches on some of the shows now. So I
Oh,
don't
really?
know. Yeah. And you know what? I went and got a Twitter handle and a Twitter page, and I do not want to promote this through my personal Facebook,
I wouldn't do that either.
but I got Instagram. Maybe one day, because when we're ready, if I do Facebook, all my high school friends will look at it, and it'll grow from there.
I was just going to say it looks a little unprofessional to me.
What does?
Doing
on
it through a personal instead of like a company name.
If we want to monetize
Yeah.
this, we just need
Right.
views, and I don't really
Eventually,
care
yeah.
how we get them.
Right. So 20 views, what the hell? I remember they were like 2. That was just like
You know
last week.
You know what I'm worried about is people going, because this is as much like a cathartic exercise for me as it is, like a show.
Yeah.
So people
Well,
would be
I like
like,
it too.
wow, man, Chris got fucking cynical when he got older.
It's that kid brings it out in him. Jesus. Cynical. Wow.
Oh, I got another story for you, too. Did I tell you about the story of the 10K, me going up to Grand Blanc, meeting your dad and Scott Shepard and the short guy who works for Steelcase?
I don't know. Not Paul Whitting. 'Cause he's super tall.
No, but you don't know Scott Shepard really, right? You've
My
just
dad
heard
talks
the
about
name.
him, or you guys talk about it, yeah.
All right, I'll tell that story first. So this is pre-wheelchair. So, and I think you knew I was a runner. I started running at maybe 13. So did 10Ks here and there. I went to a wedding. I went without a date. Stag. I didn't feel like really drinking. I was in a gin and tonic phase then.
Oh.
So I had maybe one or two gin and tonics. I barely drank. I danced a couple of dances. I knew very few people there. So I'm driving home. It's not even midnight, and I'm driving home. And I was a very first adopter in having a car phone. And my car phone rings, and it's Scott Shepard, who was a very up north hangout guy. He's the guy that I told you the story about training for the triathlon, and in 1 week how I looked different, and he was worried.
Oh, yeah.
Him.
Oh, that's funny.
So
I
big
didn't
runner
know
guy.
that.
So
Yeah.
he and I would do, for 10Ks, we would run probably 630 miles.
Wow.
Okay. And in triathlons, after getting off a bike, I would run sub 7s.
Wow. My
Yeah.
God, I couldn't do that
So
once.
so my phone rings. It's probably 11:30, and this parlays into the decision making thing. And it's Scott, and he said, "Hey, we're up in Grand Blanc, and we're going to do the Grand Blanc 10K tomorrow." It was a Saturday night, and the race is at like 8 in the morning on a Sunday. And I'm like, "Really, man?" I said, "I was really, really, and this is not like me, but looking forward to going to bed." And he goes, "You want to go home and go to bed?" And you'll understand the veracity of this, using this line in me. He goes, "You're going to go home and go to bed." That's exactly what a regular guy would do. How disappointing.
Bing. Got him.
Well, no, it'll make more sense when I tell you the decision-making thing. So I'm like, fuck.
That's exactly what.
So I'm like, I gotta go up to Grand Blanc. He goes, "We're at the Grand Blanc Inn. Is that still there?" It's a bar.
I don't know. I haven't been to Grand Blanc in
It
5 years.
It was like the watering hole of Grand
Oh,
Blanc.
cool. Okay.
Like the watering hole. So we're at the Grand Blanc Inn. I'm like, I got to run home, grab some shorts and a T-shirt and my running shoes. I'm like, I'll be there in an hour-ish. So run home. I was 15, 20 minutes from home. Run home, grab my stuff, and just drive 80 miles an hour, which was really fast then because the speed limit was 55.
On the highway?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck that. I was driving at 83 on the way home. Just like I'm not even going to get pulled over.
Let the guy tell his story. So I'm driving up there. I get there, and by now it's probably 12:30, and they're kind of winding down. They were drinking, but not heavily, and they're like, "All right, we'll finish this picture," and I'm like, "Fuck that!" I'm like, "You made me drive all the way up here. I've had almost nothing to drink. You guys are half in the bag, and we're drinking some beer." And there were 4 people there. I go, 4 pictures.
Oh,
So I'm done with my picture in probably 10 minutes.
ugh.
And I start, I'm like, I got catching up to do. And then we finish the pictures. And they're like, "All right, are we good now?" I said, "No. No, we're not good. You fucking used my own line to,
That's what a fucking regular
to blackmail me up here. You guys are up here having fun. I'm driving from Farmington to frickin' Flint. We are not done." So I'm like, a round of shots. So we did shots. And
Oh,
then
my
I
God.
think I ordered one more pitcher. And we got kicked out. We stayed till,
Never good.
last call and then some.
Fucking lights
And
come
they're
on. Yeah.
And then, yeah. And the that part was so cheesy too. It had like these, those jalapeno Christmas lights. It had those.
Oh, I hate those. Yeah.
And like red Christmas lights and just shit everywhere and trinkets hanging, like gym shoes and baseball bats and whatever you could think of hanging on the wall. It was just like Cheese City.
I hate that stuff. Anyway.
It was almost, it was between where it was and whatever. It was like, it worked there.
Made sense.
It was appropriate. Yeah. So they go, all right, let's go home and get some sleep. I'm like, no. This 10K is going to be the most painful 10K any of us have ever run.
Not finished.
So I said to your dad, I'm like, what should we do? Where can we go? He's like, there's an all-night arcade. And I'm like, let's do it. So we go and we get bunches and bunches of quarters. And we're actually having fun. So we're at the arcade. We do that. We're there till probably 3:30, whatever. And they're like, can we go now? I said, yes, we just have one last stop. Coney Island hot dogs.
Oh, with extra chili, bitch.
So I don't know if I pushed like eating more than water, but I'm like, we're going to have Coney Islands. So we're going to be burping beer and Conies on no sleep.
Not just burping.
Right. And,
oh my God.
So we went and we had Conies, and you can confirm, I am not exaggerating one part of this. Your dad, he may say like he's
no
holding back.
Oh,
because it might have been more brutal for them, right? I think based on stories that like punishment was nothing I couldn't take.
Right, and it's like it got that boomeranged on them, and like they got. Yeah.
What would a regular guy do? I'm like, you guys are gonna fucking
torture you,
pay, man. So we had Conies. Then I'm like, all right, I too want some sleep. It's like 4:00. We got to get up at like 6:30 to get there because I haven't registered yet. And
oh my God.
And the whole bit.
So
and we're like between being up, drinking, eating Conies. It's summertime. We're just like kind of sweaty and uncomfortable, and we didn't want to wake, Ralph and Sue. So we just like laid down on the living room floor in the house in Grand Blanc. So we really barely slept.
That doesn't count.
We're just like, we're sticky and icky and just not in running form. So we register. So I said to your dad, who he was in beast mode for a while on 10Ks. So he was in really good running shape at the time. And Scott was always running shape. I'm like, all right, now to top it off, we have to run sub-7s. And they're like...
Is that a condition that you can follow up on at this point?
No pain, no gain kind of thing, right? Mind over matter. So your dad hung for the first mile or two. And Scott and I, at the time, we were just running a lot more than your dad was. So he was like, I have to drop off. And I think he might have thrown up. And Scott and I were running, and the crazy thing, there was, and it doesn't, man, woman, it doesn't matter, but it was the size. There was a woman in front of us. She was maybe 5 feet tall.
Wow.
And she was our rabbit. And
cooking.
She was, yeah, and she wasn't super lean. She didn't have like a runner's build. She was just slightly chunky, and again, maybe 5 feet tall. And we're like, fuck. And we just like couldn't catch her. I mean, we were hurting. We were physically compromised.
She's probably 8-ball.
8-ball, man. We crossed the thing. We look at our watches. We did the math. 7:01s.
Oh!
6.2 seconds too slow.
Wow. That really hurts. But I would let you guys have it. Actually, no, I won't.
The thing is, we wanted to catch her.
Right.
And she put it on, and we put it on. We couldn't catch her. We got to within, so she was maybe 100 feet in front of us for the last, 2 or 3 miles. And
she was first place?
No.
Oh, okay.
She was just our pace rabbit.
I gotcha. Yeah.
And we closed in, and we got within maybe 10 feet of her, and we couldn't do it. But anyway, but it was fun, and it's a great story that I've told a number of times. And
that's tremendous. Cool. Yeah, that's the kind of story where it's like the torturing is good. in the future.
It was good that day.
Actually, yeah,
The
you're right.
night was
Sounds
the night
fun.
was better.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing was just like so beautiful. No, we're gonna go do something in the arcade. Are we done? No.
Bitch. 24-hour Coney.
Coney Islands.
Yeah.
Diet of champions.
That's the most.
Because I knew it was
disgusting-
gonna be just like the worst thing to eat when we're gonna run a 10K in like 4 hours.
I couldn't even believe that. I don't like hot dogs like just to begin with. There's something like slimy about them.
I used to love Coney Islands. I used to love them.
Big fan of hot dogs. Not surprised.
I don't eat them anymore just because they're full of preservatives. And
Right. I meant.
although Betty White was asked in the last year, they said, you're 90, whatever she is, you're still sharp as a tack. What do you attribute, this longevity to? She said, vodka and hot dogs.
hot dog. That's the word. That's like
That's a great answer.
a great 10K diet. Yeah, why not?
Sure.
That is a great answer.
All right, so here's the decision-making thing. I've got two. One's logical, and one is more philosophical. So the philosophical one is, what is the decision? And think of the most mundane solution or answer to whatever it is you're trying to do. So the most middle of the road, mundane thing that just a straight up regular guy would do. What would a regular guy do? And you come up with that answer. And whatever you do, don't do that. You go 180 degrees this way, go 180 degrees that way. But figure this out and then figure each polar opposite, positive and negative, and go with one of those. But if you want to be average, keep doing that. Right? But if you want to be unique and stand out and be an outlier, then figure out what the outlier, the outlandish outlier.
Yeah. Get an
position
average
is
guy
and
as
do
your
that.
best friend. There you go. Then you get no. Right?
There you go. And then the other one is, and this one is, I think, a great way to make a decision. Whatever it is, think of, the next day and a week after and a year after. Put yourself to the best of your ability in a position to look back on what it is you're thinking about deciding on. And what in the future would the current version of yourself be most satisfied with you having decided?
I think that's logical.
Yeah, but literally cast your mind off.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at things.
Get out of the moment, go into the future and think, okay, a year from now, when I look back, what will I wish I'd done? And it's usually not the easy answer.
No. Right. We fucking stayed up till 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. and then ran a 10K. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is more for serious kind of stuff.
Like good life choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
And those two things have both, I was going to say served me well. Maybe not well in the other guy thing, but or average guy thing, but they've not failed me.
Yeah.
Then what was the other thing?
Perfectionism, or just being a perfectionist.
Right. So here's the thing, and this one, this is a great one, and I just I kind of pulled this out of my ass. So this is maybe 10 years ago. I was running a purchasing department at the company I worked at the time, and I had a guy work for me, and this guy worked. He got in at probably 6:30. He left at probably 6, Monday through Friday. I'd come in, and it was before smartphones, so you weren't looking at email all the time. And you could dial in, and if it was like an emergent situation, you dial into your computer and look at email on the weekend. But for the most part, you disconnected on Friday and you re-engaged on Monday. And on Mondays, I would see emails he'd take his laptop home, get on the internet, and I would see emails from, say, 10 a.m. to like 4 p.m. So he was, in and out of working on Saturdays, and then on most Sundays, and they usually ended at noon on Sunday, but on most Sundays, there'd be some emails too. This guy had 2 kids at the time who were, in the 5-ish
toddler
range,
Yeah.
years you don't get back.
Yeah.
So I asked him to. So this always kind of bothered me. I'm like, let's call him Francis. Francis, your weekends are yours. You got little kids. And then I asked him to do something, and it was for the purpose of making this point. Let's say I asked him to do a report, and I gave him some parameters, and I said, let me have it by Friday. So Friday rolls around, he brings me this report, and it is like a work of art. It's a work of art from how he presented it, the aesthetics he used, the artwork, everything.
It was, in other words, perfect.
It was damn close. Nothing's perfect, right?
Right.
You know why? Now I gotta say this. You know why nothing's perfect?
It's subjective. I don't know. What?
Here's my answer. Perfection is infinitely without flaw.
Oh, to the down to the last minute detail.
Well,
Right.
but it's infinitely
Right,
without
infinite,
flaw.
yeah.
And what's impossible?
Infinite anything, right?
Anything
yeah.
infinity.
Yeah.
You can't get there. So, but man, this guy got really, really close. So I said, Robert, man, this is way more than what I asked you to do. This is excellent, excellent work. This approach is perfection. And I said, now I'm going to give you a lecture. You need to embrace the concept of good enough. And good enough doesn't mean mediocre. It doesn't even necessarily mean good or very good. It might mean excellent. It might mean this, approaching perfection. But all I needed was the data. We just needed an answer to a question that required data. And I said, you get here, basically at 7, you leave at 6. Your kids are 4 and 6 years old. You work on Saturday, you work on Sunday. You got to start embracing the idea of good enough. Because you get one go that I'm aware of, and you're spending a lot of time doing this stuff, and you could serve your kids and your wife better on spend a little more time with them.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was head and shoulders with regard to everything he did. Everything.
Did he end up rising through the ranks or what?
No, I think this. It's funny. I thought of this and had this conversation with somebody in the last week. He gets too wrapped up in minutia to be an executive.
Pedantic. Yeah.
Oh my God, we have this situation. What are we gonna do? Fuck it, we're gonna do that. Right?
Right.
He didn't have that ability.
Right.
He had to gather all data, put together the perfect presentation, and make his decision that way.
Kind of destined to be a cruncher, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I suffer the same thing. For the guys I've worked for, and I think in my position right now, I think my boss, if somebody said, we got an opportunity for Chris to do, X, Y, or Z, I think my boss, as good of a guy as he is, would think, I don't fucking want to let this guy go. There are times when we'll go a month and maybe we exchange 1 or 2 emails where he's like, what I'm in charge of, he knows it's going to go right. He knows I don't need input. He knows if there's something he needs to know, I'm going to let him know. And he's not going to receive anything from me he doesn't need to know. And it's all going to work.
And it just might not be perfect work, but everything else will be true. Yeah, which is fine.
He's not worried.
No, I got you.
And I have a lot of responsibility.
Right, but my point was that your perfection doesn't come into play there. It's something for Francis to consider, maybe.
Yeah, no, my point. But the point of this is, I think guys that often, if I was just okay and I was needed somewhere else, he'd be like, fuck it, yeah, Chris can go.
Oh,
no big deal. So I think if you become really, really valuable at certain jobs, you kind of pigeonhole yourself because people want to keep you there.
Yeah, it's the get smart argument, right? What the hell is his name? Whatever. It's actor from
Agent 86, right?
Yeah, Agent 86. Right. They're like, you're too good at your job for us to promote you to field agent, and it crushes him. He's like, so I'm too good at what I do now for you guys to get rid of me. He's like, yeah.
Is that somebody in Get Smart?
It's the remake, the movie with Steve Carell. Yeah.
I think I saw that. Maybe I didn't.
It wasn't bad.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson was in it.
He's funny.
That's all I know. Yeah.
Ricky's on my feet. What's up with this guy?
Like Ricky's on my feet. Ricky's on.
So there's two things I want to talk about.
All right.
Or more. One is preferred pronouns. I'm aware of two schools, no less than two schools, and I've not fact-checked this, but just heard it on the news, which I believe. California, Berkeley, and the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, is part of the incoming process. They ask you what your preferred pronoun is.
Uh-huh.
So that's something I want to dissect. And then the term and what's behind it, the term being women's reproductive rights, bugs the shit out of me.
I have strong feelings on that topic.
You want to start there?
Let's start with the pronouns, because I actually am closer to that than you know. At U of M, a friend of mine from high school, he was part of that first class they started doing this, and he chose something like, it was like Your Majesty or His Majesty or something as his pronoun. And he kind of was like, I just fucking blew up your whole stupid project. Your professors have to call me His Majesty now because of a rule that you guys set up.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I don't know the guy, but he's just somebody that I knew tangentially, whatever. But I think that's great. I'm like, yeah, use the fucking stupid rule to show how stupid the rule is.
Yeah, if that thrills you, satisfies you, gives you whatever, because that's what the purpose of the pronoun is, right? To make somebody happy.
Yeah, shit, I didn't even think about that. It follows the rules.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You want to be extreme because you want what you want and you want to be selfish about it, so fucking be selfish.
Probably just pick bro. Hey, bro.
That would be a good, or dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And then when they call you dude, you can say, don't dude me.
Don't dude me, motherfucker. Yeah. Hey, it says right here my official pronoun is bro. Okay.
So with regard to the nuts and bolts of that, and if you're transgender, that's fine. You can sit next to me. You can, I would have transgender friends if they weren't like combative people who would fuck up parties. If they're,
or even try to just pour it down your throat, right? It's like, yeah.
If they're good, if there's somebody who's easy to be around and friendly and funny and all that, I do not care. I don't care what your sexual orientation is, your mental orientation is, your biological
mental orientation.
Gender makeup.
Insane people I might have to psychosexual killers.
You know what I mean. Anyway, so if you're trans, I don't care. In fact,
good for you.
I'd like to think, because I've thought about it enough. Yeah, good for you, and I have empathy. That'd be a hard position to be in.
Yeah.
I think being gay would be really hard, because there's people who don't approve of you. That would be a difficult thing. It'd be a hard life.
And that I just don't understand.
I think being trans would be even harder. If you totally, if you're born with male biology and you are, full on female, mentally, emotionally, God, Ricky, really?
Ricky's in the middle of something. Let me finish my story.
Kind of in the middle of something. If you saw his head, this is so funny. He's climbing me up like a Mount Everest, like his life depends on it. Excuse me for
Ricky is the cutest
fill
dog.
in. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. This is not part of the discussion, but I think it's fair to point out by the way, people who do hate people for their proclivities or whatever, or their, race, all that shit, please explain it to me, because I don't understand. What is your rational, what's your reasoning for that? I don't get that shit. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I'm happy. Let's have this conversation for a second. The biggest thing that confuses me, especially with somebody who doesn't like somebody because of race or religion, there's people that hate people.
That's what I mean. It's like, where do you get the time in the day for that?
How can you dislike and even hate somebody you've never even met. It's like the math is impossible. I don't get it.
That's what I mean.
You've not met them.
Yeah. The best way I've ever heard it put, and I give credit to Gavin McInnes for this, he said if you're ordering carryout from a bar or whatever, right, and you show up a little bit early, the food's not ready yet, the guy says, hey, just have a seat and we'll bring it out to you. You say, cool. You get a beer while you're waiting. And next to you, there's a black dude. You're a white guy in this.
Sitting on a bench or whatever?
Right. No, just sitting next to you at the bar.
Yeah,
right?
on a bench or a bar stool.
And he gave a bunch of different examples. He's ordering the same sandwich as you, or he's watching the game with the same enthusiasm as you. And something about that guy is going to stop you from enjoying like 5 minutes of good conversation just because he's a black dude. I'm like, if you guys have common interests and values, what's to stop anybody from getting together? I don't get that. It's like, right, like you said, the math doesn't add up. I'm going to tell that guy, fuck off because you're black. Like, what? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well,
it's nonsensical.
The libertarian part of it would be if you just don't like people who aren't like you, or if you don't want to be around people who aren't like you, that's one thing. But to dislike, to take it from
action
I want to be
thought, right? Thought to action.
Right. I look at this guy. He looks different than me. That makes me uncomfortable. I'm not going to talk to him. That's sad, but I get. But taking it to there's by default something wrong with that guy.
I'm going to burn his house down.
And he doesn't know it, but I hate his fucking guts.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell? How?
Doesn't compute and whatever.
It doesn't compute.
And I'm not saying whenever people attack racism, I feel like Republicans jump to like, we're not racist, which I think is a really kind of a telling thing, but whatever. We'll get into that later. But we don't mean you.
I don't know. I'm not connecting the dots there.
I feel like people on the right, whenever people talk about racism being bad, people on the right go, I'm not racist. I'm like, before it's like they're defending themselves when they don't need to defend against, which I think is kind of ironic and telling. But
well, I think I told you, here's one of the reasons I could never check the box. I can't vote in primaries because I will not identify myself as a Republican or a Democrat.
Is Michigan, you have to do that?
Yes. Yeah, you have to declare yourself as one, because you can't vote in both primaries.
I know, but I thought that Michigan got rid of that and it's just on the same ballot and you can only vote for one regardless.
Oh.
Like you pick Republican or Democrat. You can't, there's not two elections for the Republican.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm mistaken. But I think it used to be that way.
Well, I don't know how long it's been, but I learned that in college, specifically about Michigan.
Interesting. Okay.
And I'm a voter.
So you learn something new every day. So that's
I'm
good.
not a voter. I'm just kidding. I'm my anarchist.
So perhaps I might vote in a primary one day. That having been said, I was going to say I can't be part of a party that knowingly goes after votes in the still hotbeds of racism. And maybe I'm being unfair here in stereotyping, but the Bible thumping fucking backwoods racist motherfuckers.
Right, there's a guy
they want that vote.
Yeah.
They want that vote. And I can't be part of a party that espouses going after that motherfucker who, if you're black, you're an N-word. You're just a useless N-word.
And you have bad math because your
do it.
equation doesn't make any sense. But
well, they're too fucking stupid to understand that.
I wouldn't even say that. Like David Duke's not dumb. He's not stupid, right? He's just like got fucked up worldview. But that's enough to.
Well, he's worse. So guys like that are worse.
Right.
If you're just a stupid,
right, because he can affect change.
Backwards ass country fuck. At least you're stupid.
Right. At least
I
you're
guess.
staying in the swamps. Yeah. At least you're stupid. Yeah. Fuck. That should have been the name of our show.
David, was he governor of South Carolina?
Something. Whatever. Yeah. He ran for president and shit. I don't know.
Anyway, where was I? So back to preferred pronouns.
Oh wow.
So here's what gets me. And I don't know if I told you this, but if you're going to go after serious social change, to me, you need to meet two criteria. One, it needs to serve the greater good. And you could make an argument that the trans thing might serve the greater good. I don't think so. And I'll tell you what I think is fair and makes sense. So one, if you're going to make social change, it needs to serve the greater good. And I think that needs to be more or less universal. And two, there needs to be critical mass.
Right, at the
Meaning if 1 in 1 million people are fill in the blank.
Right, it's a non-starter.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's just it's a waste of resources, right? Or if 1 in every 10 million people die of some crazy ass affliction every year,
right.
Don't invest a lot of money
right.
in trying to find
even
what a drug
doctors
is,
say that, right? Yeah, they were like, sorry, it's not. We'll just go do something else. Breast cancer's still big. Yeah.
Right. What's the disease that people bring back from Africa? Ebola.
Ebola, yeah, 2 people.
Yeah. So
100% death rate though.
Yeah. No.
Wait, was it?
There are people who have come back and gotten that antiviral and have been quarantined and not died.
In America, I thought there was only ever 2 cases ever
of people getting Ebola.
Yeah.
No, there were people. There were nurses who came back from Africa, who were exposed and tested positive and went on an antiviral and didn't die.
Oh.
And I don't know how many it was, but it was.
Great job, medical science.
Yes. So it is survivable, but I think they were on heavy IV fluids and all.
Skin falls off.
But anyway, the point being, before you look for the 1 in a million or 1 in 10 million drug, let's invent an Ebola vaccine.
Right, because at least we know there's 3 people, right, out of
kind of thing. Thousands of people are dying from it. So if you're trans, have you looked at the list? Have you ever seen the list
of acceptable pronoun? What you mean, the LGBTQ plus whatever?
Yeah, and just their pronouns.
Something like
there's like
77
he, she,
different.
Yeah, there's like columns.
Yeah.
He, she, him, her, they, us, we, whatever. And then like he, she, there's like z, this, I'm like, so reinventing the human language. Now, everywhere that I've read, and it's internet based, and it's from Wikipedia to NIH.gov. So places that would, and they were all very consistent, that 0.3% of the population is estimated to be trans. So 3 in 1,000 people.
Right, that's what I remember from the military debate.
So 3 in 1,000 people. And then I thought, and I'm not a disability activist. So, and if you're just seeing this, I'm sitting in a wheelchair back here. So you may not know that.
He's saying,
but
don't
I'm not an
approach
activist.
me.
So I just did a Hey Google search, and I said, what percentage of people in the United States of America are living with a disability? Guess what it is?
82%. I don't know. What?
50 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, right. 50 billion. I don't know. What is it? 22%.
12.3%.
Oh, fuck. Almost the same as...
But let's go back to my personal, is this a worthy initiative thing? Does it serve the greater good? You can tell the story when I'm done. Does it serve the greater good, and is there critical mass? So 3 in 1,000 is it's not insignificant, but you're approaching that diminishing return on sufficient critical mass for the amount of press and energy and controversy that this is taking out. This is consuming a lot of resource and energy. Right. And it's 3 in 1,000 people. And I'm not diminishing this. And again, you have my sympathy and my empathy and my support until you get in my face to the degree that I don't want to help you anymore. If you shove it down my throat, I will choke. And when you make people choke on you, they develop a bad taste for you. Anyway, so off that tangent, so 12.3% of people are disabled. Why? So that's what? 10? That's 40 times more? A little more than 40 times more people than trans, is that right? 1.2, yeah, it's 40 times more. So 40 times the amount of people who are trans are disabled. Does a questionnaire go out if you have a disability? Is there any reasonable accommodation we could make for you at our university? No. Why not?
Yeah.
Because we got fucking SWJs out there, or SJWs, who are making so much freaking noise that we are wasting resources. Should we question everything? Right? If you're gay, do you need it? If you're disabled, do you need it? If you're a minority, do you need it? If you're non-Christian, if you're atheist, if you're, I don't know, not a dog owner, if you're, who...
That's what I mean by what. Yeah, but
where does it start and where does it end? And this one has begun and gained way too much fucking momentum, and I'm sick of it.
And I think it's just gonna keep going on like this until somebody puts their fucking foot down. And who is the somebody? I don't even know who the somebody is.
People don't have the balls to say what I'm saying.
Right?
Because
Well,
you
that's
get
what I mean.
crushed.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying. We need like groups of people who are. We need like an activist group that is motivated towards honest discussion, not heartfelt discussion, not happy discussion, not fucking rainbows and sunshine discussion. Honest
People who are willing to 8-ball.
right? Yeah, fuck yeah, come on, 8-balling and be honest. God,
Well, they'll be honest.
sounds like a hate.
The thing is, they're going to be. It's kind of like the conversation. It's romantic and passionate and feels the right way. And I think a lot of people, and I don't, whatever. I was going to say, it seems like mostly young people, but it's not. It's crossed into everywhere where if you purport to be progressive, you have to champion this. And it's reached a level of irrationality and lacks the critical mass to deserve the resources it's getting. Oh, and here's my point. So you got Z, Zer, Zim, all these invented words.
They say that there is a reason for all that. It's all mathematical, whatever the fuck. But
Yeah, so to that I say bullshit, and here's why I say bullshit. Because we have the English language is well established, and if you transition to female or you transition to male, if you transition to female, there's an existing set of pronouns. She, her, hers, right?
right, which is
And if somebody says, I identify as a female, please use the appropriate pronouns. I'll use she, her, hers. And I won't push back at all because I respect people's right to be whoever and whatever the fuck they want.
It's almost like the purists are getting into that group and kind of fucking it up, being like, you have to call us by exactly what the thing is. And it's like, I'm actually cool with just her,
But
it's like the women's.
it's like they're almost denying their own thing.
Well, no, that's what yes, it's weird. Why are you going to become this
are you
thing
a
if
woman?
you want to be something else? Yeah, then why not just
why
become that?
why have right? Why have a pronoun that says
something else?
I'm trans? Do you want to be accepted as a woman, like just a regular normal woman, or do you want to be special?
I think that this is a tremendously offensive episode, but I think
You mean like I'm offending people?
I think it totally has teeth. Yeah.
If you identify as a woman, you're she. That should be exactly what you want.
It makes sense. Yes. But
I want to dress. I am not a man. So you're gonna. I don't know what you do. I don't know if you like shave super well and put makeup over it. If there's something where you
laser. It's all.
So you get hair lasered, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you fully transition, and you have your genitals changed and you get breast implants, and again, if you want to do that, I got no issue with that. And if you go to all that length,
you probably want to be called she. Anyway.
She.
Yeah, right. Probably. Yeah, you're fucking wearing high heels.
To me, it makes all the sense in the world. I'm a woman. I'm a she.
Yeah.
I was a he. It was wrong. Now I'm a she.
This is exactly.
Why would you want to be Zer? Because it would suggest
you're not part of the binary spectrum.
Else. Exactly.
Yeah. Binary. God, why the fuck did I even? It bothers me that shit even exists. It should just be like, yeah, I just turned into the other thing.
But I truly don't get it.
Well, I'm
a woman. I'm a she.
Right. And should we be punished for not understanding? No, I think not. But
I think I understand perfectly.
I believe you.
I really do.
I'm just saying this is a very similar topic of subject to what McInnes was talking about before he bit the bullet, so to speak, first time. But whatever. We're 8-balling, aren't we?
We're 8-balling.
Fuck yeah. But, is this going to get us kicked off YouTube? See?
No, this is not. This is not
Don't
hate
ask.
speech.
Yeah, it's well, that will remain unanswered.
I have no hate. I have no malice. Again, I got nothing
Absence
against-
of malice. Malice.
Yeah.
Fucked it up. Got it.
I don't care if you're trans. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care. You know, one of my very good friends, she's gay. I don't care.
Right. At what point does it really matter to me anyway? Only when you start shoving it down my throat. That's when it matters.
And you know what? I told her. So, did you know? And you're not going to believe this. Did you know I was in the School of Social Work for a master's at U of M for half a semester?
I didn't know that. Is it just to never mind.
After I was, you know, I had a .com job, right?
Yeah.
When that just completely just fell out from under me, I was thinking, you know, what could I do with myself that would be like kind of a sense of higher purpose? And I was like, you know what? I've done pretty well with this disability thing. I want to counsel people, individuals and families. So the quickest way to the well to be able to practice, to be a licensed counselor and to be able to practice psychotherapy, you either need a master's in social work, and I think at the time it was a PhD in psychology, or you need to be a psychiatrist. Yeah, I'm certainly not going to med school.
Yeah.
A PhD in psychology when I don't have an undergrad in psychology is years and years and years, or a master's in social work is 2 years.
You're like, fuck it, 2 years.
And it's not a super hard degree. Didn't have to take the GMAT, just applied, got in, and I was like, I'm going to take this, and then you have to do your supervised counseling, so there's 2,000 hours of that, and then you can go, and if you ever go online and like look at, try to seek out a counselor, it seems like people with masters in social work are the most prevalent people out there, which isn't necessarily a good thing. I don't think one degree makes somebody better or worse. I think you're kind of good at it or you're not. But anyway, it was a quick way to the well. And I was like, you know what? When I get to where I get at, I can bill $200 an hour. And if I'm working 30 hours a week, that's $6,000. And my little office is going to cost me $500 a week. And I'm fucking knocking it back and helping people.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That is higher purpose, especially for that $6,000 a week. I like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not going at this. At the time, the average salary of a social worker was like $40,000, which is pretty low for somebody who's going to go get a master's. And at the time, Michigan was had the number one, and I think they're still like number one or two. That school. Not that means anything, but not a high-paying profession. But that's not what most people do. They don't go into it with I'm going to build a business and make a bunch of money doing this. But anyway, so what was my point? Oh, that was right around the time when LGBT came out. And so I asked my friend, at that time, I thought, if you're gay or lesbian, that's well established. I think, integrated into society. You still got your, people who don't like black people who aren't going to like gay, you got your haters. There's always haters. But transgender, and then LGBTQ. Transgender and...
Queer? What are you talking about?
No, LGBT, I'm sorry, and bisexual.
Oh.
So I've not seen, there hasn't been a lot of discussion, but to me, bisexual is more of like... in this one, it seems to me as though that might be more in the realm of a choice or a lifestyle than a sexual identity, and I don't know. So I'm going to admit here I don't know. But so what I thought back then was if I'm gay or lesbian, I don't want these people hitching their wagon to me.
Right.
We've worked so hard to normalize ourselves, right? And there have been, studies done that legitimize that this is not a choice, that there are biological factors that drive, the sexual orientation. And now you're going to take, transgender and bis, and all the work we've done, they're just gonna latch on.
Yeah, you're gonna hit your fucking. You're gonna join us up. You're gonna be my sidecar.
So I asked her about that,
Yeah.
and she was like, "It's not worth getting into."
It's like it's.
So it's kind of like she was kind of like.
It's big in the scene. Yeah, we all.
She kind of
talk about
acknowledged it, and her body language is like, "Just don't even take me there."
Wait, that's fucking beautiful that you said that. Owen Benjamin, comedian, lives in Seattle. One of his specials, which I now own, he had to do it privately because he was one of those guys. Like, he got fucked for doing this exact thing we're doing right now, talking about these issues.
As a comedian.
Yeah, whatever, talking about that shit. And his last special, he goes, the L's and the G's, they like get along great. They're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then they got, the B's come on. All right, you guys, they'll fuck anybody, right? It's all cool. And then the T's come on and it's like, whoa, I don't want to fucking be part of this group anymore. It's a great bit. I just butchered it. But he talks about the same phenomenon. Yeah. And it's like, you'd think that the L's, the G's, and the B's would want to go to a more safer waters. I don't know. Like,
yeah, and I don't know when it started. I think, I think people started becoming more comfortable coming out like maybe like late 70s into the 80s.
I had a friend. Well,
and anyway, I'm making the same point twice. But if I were gay, I would think my reaction would be, really? Really, man? Fucking go fight your own war.
It should be, I'm going to go fight my own war. But yeah.
Anyway, you were saying a friend of yours.
Nah, that's not worth bringing up.
Bring it up. Come on.
Well, I'm trying to protect privacy. It's a little bit too, especially about that kind of thing, that kind of deal.
Okay. Hey, everybody, I got to plug this. I found this. It's Reed's Ginger Ale. Did I tell you about this?
You told me about your...
It's 130 calories, which is like half of other pop. It's made with cane sugar, sweetened with cane sugar, so no high fructose corn syrup. Because I'm avoiding that like the plague now. And it's so tasty. It is so totally tasty.
I love a good ginger ale. So it's great, especially for
Did you? Stomach. I gave you a taste of this, right?
I think so. Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Anything with cane sugar in it, I'm all for. Like that, those Sprecher guys, they make great soda.
Well, the list of ingredients is very short. It's
which
basically like carbonated water, sugar, and ginger, and it's got, I think, like how many grams? It's pretty significant. 17 grams of ginger in this.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's 2/3 of an ounce.
Wow. I can't do that, man.
It's worth it.
Good job, Reeds. Nice.
Yeah.
Send us a free case. I mean, we like your stuff.
Yes. And it's a cool bottle. And this is what I use. It is a cool bottle. So I told you I spent probably 10 hours over the weekend dialing, getting the video dialed in. Camera settings. I focused.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I focused.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I made the focal point here, here,
oh,
here.
I gotcha. I see.
Yeah. And I'd record it, and then I'd wait, and I'd pull it up on the big TV. So you can read on the 65-inch TV down to ginger ale.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty. Yeah, that's impressive.
And based on the signal,
wow.
hopefully we're still streaming good. Yeah, the biggest difference, sadly, was focusing the camera in the right place.
Oh, just where it
that
should
have
be.
been the first fucking thing I did.
Yeah.
So I turned off autofocus and I did manual focus, and then I zoomed in and I picked a few different points.
And what's the best? What are we rocking?
Like
right there.
This bottle was right there, so it's basically halfway between us.
I gotcha. Yeah.
So.
You could read the ginger ale in that? Wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if you could read my little... Where is this pointed?
Well, that's closer. But the thing is that it's not focused because it's somewhat low light in here, even with all the lights we have.
It wouldn't pick up that dull...
Yeah, do you know much about camera settings?
No. I only know about like...
So the bigger the opening of the lens, the smaller the range. So if you have a really small opening and a really fast shutter speed, your focal length is much, much, much longer.
But you're not picking up much light, right?
Well, the less light, the more you need to open the lens. So you need a more open lens and a slower shutter speed. But the fact that the lens is open, again, makes that focal length much shorter. Because like if you ever watch a TV show or a movie, what they'll do is if they want to make you concentrate on the person who's talking, they'll do a much shorter focal length, and they'll focus in on the person who's talking, and everybody else in front of them, behind them, will be blurry.
Your eyes just drawn to it.
Yeah, and then the next person talks, and they'll adjust it.
Yeah.
Watch it. There's a lot to photography. It's pretty cool.
Oh, totally. I'm a complete moron on the subject. I think it's actually pretty interesting. You know, even though it's art.
Yeah, I started to tell you. I'll tell you a quick story. I told you when we had Sherry's granddaughter here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to get her to have a thing. I said everybody needs to have a thing.
Right.
And I had a decent little point and shoot camera, and I said let's do photo club, and you and I we're obligated to take pictures, and every week we'll submit a picture, and then Sherry will be the judge, and we'll submit 2 or 4 or whatever we want, and Sherry will pick the one. And I actually have the hardware. I bought these stainless steel rods,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at how people were, like, photographers, how they were displaying their works. And you know those, like, kind of heavy-duty black paper clips with the little stainless steel
Yeah,
things
it's just
that
like a...
flip up? Yeah, so I got
Yeah, what
these
the fuck
stainless
do you
steel
call it?
rods, and I got little eye bolts. So you, like, was going to have 3 rows, and then I just got, like, mats for 5x7s, and you take the paper clips and you clip them on, and you just tape the picture to the back, and it's so they're presented, but they're not framed. And I
Right,
was
so
thinking-
they can be changed easily.
yeah,
too.
so you change them out. So every week 2 get changed out,
Yeah.
and maybe we have 20 up there or something.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. That is... Geez,
And
you went all out
I
for
still
it,
want to
too.
do it, and, you know, and
Yeah.
I still. So I'm like I'm going to make myself. So I took a picture of that box with all those stamps,
Oh, yeah.
and it was a really, really neat picture. It'll print out well, so that.
That was a cool thing.
Yeah, so I gotta get. I don't know where I'm gonna put that, but someplace cool.
Nice. Yeah, photography is something I'd like to get into. I just don't know anything about it.
Well, you know, I have the first little camera we started doing that was running out of batteries, but I mean, these have come a really long way, and the point is, and I finally like conceded to this. I was gonna like, all right, I gotta learn how to really use that camera. That little camera has pretty much all the features of that digital SLR.
Really? Wow.
Excuse me. Yeah, and I was like, all right, I got to learn it, and I got to learn these techniques and learn how to do like the blurry fields and all that. And then I was like, you know what? I really need to start doing? Just taking pictures.
Because then you learn more about the actual...
Well, it's also taking pictures and how to frame it and having
Yeah.
like a foreground and
lighting, right? Where's your... Yeah, I think actually using your tool is probably a better way to learn than just like reading about the shit.
right. So just take the pictures and you
Right,
can
and
do
you'll
photo
figure it out,
club. And
yeah.
I mean, half the fun is just printing the photo and putting it on the wall.
Right.
So I kept, getting in my own way to do this hobby. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to start taking pictures. So I started doing that.
Nice.
And that one
Yeah.
turned out.
Yeah, I took a bunch of pictures when I was up north.
Yeah.
That was work related though. Just like...
Of
How's-
properties?
Yeah, how's the upkeep? Right, yeah, properties, but not for my job. It was for family shit, but yeah. Tangent, sorry. I'm the
That's
speed
okay.
bump today, my God. Sorry.
That's okay. How long have we been going?
Probably like, hour 17 minutes? Something like that.
I forget where the clock is on this
Hour
one.
and 8 minutes. 1 hour, 7 minutes. Final guess. I'm going to be over by 10 minutes. So it's not final guess. Final guess is 57 minutes.
How bad am I? I don't know where the clock is.
Oh. I just usually...
It was in the lower right-hand corner.
maybe because the bar is over it.
Well, no, I changed the setting so many times over the weekend.
Oh, it's just gone. Oh, whatever.
Come on now.
Come on now. Come on now. This is a cool...
I have no idea.
Oh, well, either way. It's been a while. It's been at least
Well, there were 2 things. So I was going to talk about
perfection and...
the preferred pronouns.
Oh, right. And then, what the fuck was the other thing? God damn, what the hell
I
was
even
that?
put it in my phone in case I forgot it.
And I even said, let's go to do the pronouns one first because I'm closer to that. But I do have more interesting thoughts.
This is so sad.
Sorry. Great radio.
I knew this might happen.
This is so sad.
August 1st podcast. Oh, reproductive rights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sure,
maybe we want
yeah.
to save that one.
I don't know. I got a lot of steam on that. My sister has great fucking. She should do a remote, and we should have her on about this.
We can do it. The
and
software
we
will
could
do
have
it.
a lady too. Like
You know what the
a lady
software will
talk about
do?
it.
You give, if she has just a webcam, it'll generate a URL. So she just opens her browser and types in www.12345.
Oh, it's okay.
And it comes up, and she's in a window on our.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's really smart.
It's cool.
That is cool.
This is cool
Wow.
software.
Damn,
Yeah.
it is cool. I'll get in touch with her. We can set it up. But she would love to do that.
I'd like to give that some time.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
know what time we started?
I want to say 7:20, but I don't know.
Where's the damn clock now? Hi, Ricky. There's no clock rolling.
At all?
No.
Yeah, there's one in the bottom right. It's just not in the program. It's on the bar.
No. No. In terms of this
Oh,
saying
a
how
timer.
long you've been
Yeah, I
recording.
don't know. A timer.
I don't know.
We don't have to talk about it now, but what specifically about the reproductive rights did you want to talk about? What it catches your attention?
Well, they throw some bullshit things in to kind of put a little spin on it to what it
Yeah.
really is. It's not about reproductive
So that if you
rights.
oppose it, you're evil. Yeah.
It's not about reproductive
Yeah.
rights. It's about
How money gets spent.
it's about not reproducing. Let's put it that way.
Right. Contraception, I would say, whatever.
Contraception and abortion are the two biggest things, both of which I don't oppose.
Right. You're in life. Yeah.
What I do oppose is hypocrisy. Right?
Which is what the show is opposed to.
Right. We're anti. What am I? I'm only anti one thing. Well, I am anti-hypocrisy. I'm anti a few things, but the biggest thing I'm anti is anti.
I'm anti. I'm anti, which is hypocritical in itself.
Is it, or is it
no?
just
Because
like,
you're using this thing that you don't like as a way to categorize your emotions.
I'd call it more of a dichotomy
Okay.
than hypocritical.
It's compound dichotomy.
That's semantics more than anything.
Yeah. Wait, have you ever, like Tucker Carlson, the opening to his show? If we could just steal that verbatim, that'd be great. We might want to buy
Which
that
is
off
what?
of him. He's like, the only show that's against pompousness or like pomposity and groupthink and anti whatever. I'm like, that's a fucking awesome show. He's like shitting on
I
all
told
these
you I
stupid
watched it
things.
once, right?
He's great.
He wore a jacket and a tie.
You don't like that?
No.
Jacket and a tie?
No.
You like jacket or tie?
If you're Mr. Casual and I got no agenda and all that, just wear what you fucking wear.
I think he's trying to be like, I'm presentable. I'm like respectable. So I wear a fucking suit every day because I can, get to work on time and wear the suit to work. It's like something to that.
The world's kind of moved away from that, though. If he
Fucking
were just
totally,
a jacket
yeah.
and a white shirt, I guess I'd be okay.
Yeah.
But
I like that look.
Yeah.
There's my favorite guy, Malice. He just wears pins. So he's like, no tie ever because it's constricting. He's like, I wear a jacket with a lapel pin. And he has like a
his
spreadsheet
thing.
of different pins and he goes through.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, and for the first time, like last week, he didn't wear one and he was having like a spurg attack. Spurg it out.
Spurg, we should
Avoid?
Should be a banned word. Yeah,
It's meant in jest,
yes.
in a loving way.
Uh,
We can.
do you know who Candace Owens is?
Oh God,
Don't like her.
I think she's vile. But yeah, go ahead.
Really?
Yeah, just because I watched an old show recently about something that she was doing to a trans person, and I was like, that's a fucking shitty move. I don't like that.
Yeah, she
Face-to-face misgendering, and I was
Oh,
like,
really?
wow, that's fucking. You're really.
She does take the party line a little too much.
Yeah, it's like think for yourself. I don't like that at all. Fucking parties are stupid anyway. Have your own ideas. Parties are bad for America.
Well, she's branded herself. I mean, part of it's a career move.
Yes, yeah.
So
Right, because there's establishments that can support you, but if you're fighting for the flag. But I think it's dumb. Never liked the idea.
the idea of
I'm just saying parties, but
just being
Candace
straight,
Owen
yeah.
herself as well. Not really a huge fan of.
Okay.
What are you going to say about her?
I just thought that So a black chick who's conservative Republican, and then there's Dave Rubin,
Yeah.
a gay guy, married gay guy who's libertarian / conservative, and then a cripple guy
Wait, that's the
who's-
show that I
who's
watched.
kind of libertarian, maybe progressive, libertarian, and
Left-leaning.
little conservative here, a little progressive here.
Howard Schultz.
I don't know. It'd be an interesting threesome on
Yeah, Rubin Report or here.
anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's the show. That was the show. It's Rubin Report with Candace Owens, and then Blair White was the one that I watched where she was calling her a him to hit
Who's Blair
her
White?
face. Blair White's a transgender woman from South Africa.
A,
Yeah.
a reasonable person.
She's conservative. Yeah. Well, not like that. Like that implies reasonability. Yes, she's very reasonable. She just so happens to be conservative. She
Okay.
lives in Canada, I think, but
And she's legitimately conservative, not a career choice. You know what? It's hard. That's a hard thing to.
You can't say that for anybody because you have to,
Right.
appeal to their,
That's why I backed off.
yeah, I don't know, intent. But she seems legitimate to me. She's nice enough, smart enough. She's just kind of dropped off the radar for a few years. So I haven't looked at it. But there was a few years back, like when Candace Owens was first kind of coming onto the scene. She's like, they're debating, and she's like calling Blair White him to her face. It's like, what the fuck? That's a heavy move.
Yeah. Did you see the thing where, and Ben Shapiro says he didn't knowingly do it, and I don't believe the guy. And he's somebody that I would generally wouldn't think would lie. But that Navy SEAL guy who
Zoe
so I screwed
Tour?
up. Yeah. So woman, right? And he, God, I'm getting myself. And she physically threatened.
Ben
Yeah.
Shapiro on like, I'll see you in the parking lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
To me, that's somebody who hasn't fully transitioned.
Or someone
That
who's not
was-
secure enough to just like, I don't
Yeah,
get
but
that.
that behavior, to me, was like somebody who got literally riled up on testosterone. Somebody who threatens, who wants to fight you in the parking lot. I mean, that's
Transitioning or no, man or woman, it's not acceptable behavior wherever you are.
no, but it's a very male reaction
Yes,
to something
I'm just
confrontational.
saying it's also, yeah, that's fair, right?
So-
It wouldn't be going on if you'd be taking the prescribed hormone
or whatever,
it
right?
is. I don't know. I'm treading lightly, but
Yes.
tit
So,
pills.
Anyway, I don't know what my point was, but I reference back to that a lot. And if nothing else, Ben could have gotten a jab in. And the very first thing that ran through my mind was, well, that wasn't very ladylike.
That's a good one. But
And he didn't think of that. I'm like, oh, dude, man, you could have so squashed that.
that's another thing. When you like, whenever you're in an argument with somebody and it's like the gloves are off, the gloves are fucking off. You're opening yourself into a world of humiliation that you might not be prepared for. And if you're adding those extra, I'll say low-hanging fruit, whatever, shots to your opponent, what are you going to expect? Like, what do you expect them to say?
Exactly.
Yeah. They're going to say the thing
Yes.
that hurts you
If
the
you're
most.
if you're going to go on camera and you're going to go, especially with him, I mean,
yeah.
right? He's a Orthodox Jew who just forget any political titles.
That's who he is.
You know,
Yeah.
devout Christian Orthodox Jews, they don't espouse anything but like traditional. It's not your word, but binary sexual identity. They don't. So, like were kind of saying, you know what you're getting into.
All right, who the fuck made? Wait, was it Eve was taken from Adam's rib? Sorry, where'd the rest come from? He only has so many ribs.
We've never even, in personal discourse or on the podcast, get into religion at all.
It doesn't really fascinate me. I think
No?
there's something there. No, well, sorry, I shouldn't say that. It interests me. I think that it's a touchy subject, and people who are into it are fucking into it, and I'm just not into it. I'm like, this is interesting. I think there's something to be talked about here, but who will talk about it with me?
I was watching a podcast, and it was Ruben, and he hosted Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro, and they were talking about how like God necessarily exists, and Dennis Prager, they all say that that the only reason morality exists is because of religion. And I don't agree.
Because fucking animals have morality. A dog will save a kid from a swimming pool that's drowning. That no one ever taught that dog that he should do that. It's a fucking animal instinct, right?
Yeah, I think humanity drives. I mean, there's right and wrong, which is kind of.
I would argue that morality's evolutionary or genetic, whatever. How do you say that?
Well, the way that Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro were going about it was part of that evolution is, especially with Western culture, is a Christian, Judeo-Christian ethic that's been part of who we are, and that's necessarily because God's been around. And they kept referring to what's his face, Sam Harris. And they're like, if Sam were here, I'm like, well, Sam's not there. I'm yelling at the fucking radio.
You are fucking IWD, or intellectual dark web, IDWO. That's who you are.
I wanted to be sitting there because I was thinking of all these things that Harris hadn't thought of that would have shut them up. That would have been like Jordan Peterson's. He's a guy who will say, that's a good point. If you make a good point, he acknowledges it, and he'll be like, I got to think about that one. And I was arguing with them, and this happened in the past or whatever. Or this is why the podcast exists, because I'm yelling at
You're fucking
barking at the moon. Now I got a mic.
But sometimes though, if those guys know each other running in the same circles, if one of the guys isn't there, that kind of gives them carte blanche to discuss it, specifically in his absence.
Oh yeah. I agree.
But yeah,
they know the guy very well. They know what he stands for. They've been right. They've had discourse with him a million times.
Let's talk about religion.
Okay, but I wanted to be there because I was like, I got points here that would totally trip you guys up, make you think, make you stop.
Isn't that great? That's a good feeling to have. Not the, I wish I was there, but like the, let me get into that. I want to talk about that shit with you guys.
Yeah.
Good ideas. It's like a meth-like high, right?
There was some point I made that I shared with you, and you're like, yeah, that's a good point, that I heard Eric Weinstein make in the last 6 weeks that nobody else had ever made. And he goes, and if you look at it this way, it's really this. And I'm like, I fucking said that.
What was it about?
I said that it's on the internet.
Show. Oh, take that, Eric Weinstein.
You stole it from me, you son of a bitch.
Holy shit. Yeah, right. We should, let's pursue that. Make a huge deal out of it and be those assholes.
He, on Instagram, on Twitter, most of these guys won't let you send them regular mail.
Oh, yeah. You mean like a letter?
Yeah, where you can just send them,
anthrax
in in-mail email.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
And there are a few IDW guys who you can. So I thought I might reach out to them.
Yeah, why not? Fucking who cares? I reached out one time to some famous journalist. I forget what the hell he was, but he wrote an article about like a secession thing, like an argument, but he wrote it from the Democrat or the left wing, the blue tribe viewpoint. And I was like, dude, I fucking totally want to talk to you about this. I haven't seen anything else about it. Like, it's an idea that I've been thinking about. I'm writing a paper. Would you mind talking to me? And the guy said, yeah, whatever. Totally. Any young person intellectually curious, I will open myself up to.
So did you speak with him?
We conversed like twice, and I thought that he was kind of stupid. I was like, all right, I'm going to move on to someone else.
Well, that's funny. That gets to my point. Like a lot of these writers are just people who are sitting in a room.
Got a fucking viewpoint, yeah.
They got a piece of pen and a paper and.
God, I never turned that paper in, but I really, really like it.
What?
An argument in favor of secession for the U.S. Yeah, splitting.
Put it online. Put it on Facebook.
It might.
Ooh,
I have to. Yeah.
How big are your balls?
Fucking everyone I know, they're gonna be like, I read that weird hate-filled message you wrote on Facebook. They're like, that's how it would be interpreted. No, it's already written. I just need to go in there and make sure nothing could be construed a certain way, and then yeah.
I'll post a link to it on Twitter.
All right, fuck it. Just because.
No, I'll just.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
I'll just say my co-host on my podcast, and I won't even use a name.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes it slightly anonymous.
Yeah. Yeah, right. My best friend has a copy of it, and he could already throw me under the bus.
So one of the things I put on there was I have a C6-7 spinal cord injury, which means I'm a high-functioning quadriplegic.
I like how that implies that you're high functioning. You could be low functioning.
Right.
So I'm an overachiever. Therefore, I'm a high functioning.
So, and I said I have a job, and I have a good paying job, and
I pay taxes.
I pay taxes, and I'm sick of subsidizing able-bodied people.
Oh, fuck. Take that, America. Damn.
And it got retweeted like 6 times.
Really? Nice. Yeah, that's a fucking awesome
But nobody,
insight.
I mean, that was like, I've been on there a week,
Yeah.
and nobody knows me. I don't have any followers.
That's fucking great. I think that Twitter is the market, like, in liquid form. When it's, like, most volatile, shit just spreads like wildfire.
Was it you that
Can't
was
stop
saying, and like, you thought Twitter kind of is the news?
Yeah, it's you definitely word spreads faster through Twitter than any other medium known to man, except for maybe Reddit and 4chan, which I think that if you go on 4chan, you're despicable. And probably, never mind. Reddit, I'll let you slip by with that. But to me, it's like you're getting too pedantic at that point if you're going to go talk down that road.
Well, Reddit is more of...
message boards.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people still talk about stuff, and stuff is
but isn't
generated
people
there.
seeking-
New content is
But
generated
isn't it
there.
more of like a core, like people seeking answers?
Yeah, but it could also be people who just are seeking other people who like to talk about shit on message boards.
Okay.
Yeah, which is really what it is.
Because when I'll do like, hey Google, oops,
Oops.
that's funny. She figured it out.
Yeah, she's like, wow, really?
Yeah.
Oops was enough? Damn, Google, good job.
Yeah. She said, okay. Lost my train of thought.
Fuck, so did I.
Oh, I wind up on Reddit a lot where I'm trying to get answers to like social questions. So
That's actually a good, I think that's the best place to do it. That's why I didn't condemn Reddit. I think it actually does have some good quality. But
Yeah,
4chan is just so dark.
I
It's fucked.
I don't think I've ever even seen it, but Quora comes up a lot too.
Yeah, I don't go on there. It's kind of like more of a scholarly thing.
Well, I don't really go on it. It just
comes up on your-
It just
I
comes
gotcha,
up when
sure.
you're trying to get an
Yeah.
answer to something
I
kind of
gotcha, right.
social oriented.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Reddit does actually
like
have a
the
lot of stuff.
disability thing.
Yeah.
What percentage? It probably came up on Reddit or Quora.
And that's a great way to get your finger on the pulse of America or wherever, there's something, the opposite of digital detox about it that I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, God, Ricky, really,
It's like, fucking
dude,
love me.
get comfortable. So I've not. Twitter doesn't seem very substantive. There's a lot of babble.
Mhm.
Even, and I'm only following people like established people. I'm not. I'm following one friend from high school, just because he's a football coach, and in case he posts like stuff about his team and his games, I'm interested to see. But there's just so much noise.
It's hard. Yeah. But I think there's something beautiful about Twitter that is in all this noise, the fucking, I'm sorry for cursing. I don't know why I'm cursing so much. It's kind of our thing though. That the good stuff, the gold rises from the noise somehow. It's just like, and that's the market, whatever, of information. It's where news kind of travels.
Maybe I don't know how to navigate it well enough yet. I don't know.
And neither do I.
It just seems like you have to sift through a lot of crap to get to anything that's worth reading.
You got to follow circles of people, not just like a person part of a circle. You got to follow the whole circle. That way you see what this person is saying about this person, and then how they respond. It's all kind of annoying, and I haven't figured it out.
So it sounds like there's a lot of, not circular, but
What
just
the
seems
hell
like a
is
lot of
that?
noise.
Who is the astronomer who came up with the concentric circles model? That's kind of what Twitter is like. They didn't know that the Earth was the center, or they thought that Earth
The guy
was the
that
center.
frustrated me?
Concentric circles with the 64. It's like they extrapolated why does the retrograde motion they use to explain the planet's motions and shit. And they're like, this circle is a fucking circle off of that, and then that one, and then that one. But the answer was really, it's just a heliocentric galaxy or a solar system. Never mind. I apologize.
Is it The physicist?
He's an astronomer, early guy, because they hadn't figured it out yet. It was around this geocentric, heliocentric model before they figured out the sun was the center.
Galileo?
Fucking, I don't know. I want to say Tycho Brahe, maybe.
No.
No, he just had a telescope.
No, you mean the guy who postulated that the planets went around the sun?
No. I mean the guy who built models to predict the movements of celestial bodies through the use of a device called concentric circles, whatever. Through the use of concentric circle diagrams. All right, I gotta look this up.
I had 2 astronomy classes in college, too.
I fucking loved astronomy, dude. And my one and only year at CMU, I set the curve in my astronomy class and had kids paying me to cheat off of me, but I turned it down. That was a great class, and I had a great professor. Let's see. Concentric circle.
All right, after we share this information, I think we should
wind it down. The Burgess model, or the CCD model, is one of the earliest theoretical models to explain urban social... Fuck. Okay. We'll never know. I'm sorry. I can't figure it out.
Figure it out. Nope.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. But there's a guy. You guys know I'm talking about. Some fucking astronomer. And he was wrong, but it was really, really close. And that's what Twitter is. Just you need a bunch of concentric circles that you follow.
Okay.
Fiend.
All right. We ready to boot?
Yeah.
There you go. New prop.
Fuck yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. We're done.
Peace.
Over and out. There we go. See, I'm going to use that
Yeah.
to cut us off.
Nice.